Welcome to another episode of the Sunday Punch podcast. We have a very special guest today, Josh Rosen, hilarious comedian, fantastic impressionist. I was shown him by my buddy Charlie here. He does a great. Skip Bayless does a great. Joe Biden does a great. Donald Trump, among many others. We're going to let him introduce himself. Then we're going to get into the Heat versus the Celtics reaction and NBA Finals preview. Josh is a huge Miami Heat fan. But before we do that, it's Tuesday night. But as we all know on the SPP, it is always Friday night.
Friday night, I'm thinking that we just might fly away to someplace they don't know who we are. Now I'm riding shotgun in your car. We drive through the city like explorers going 65. Flowing hair flying across your face. We left on Friday, now it's Saturday. Pressed jeans buttoned up, jeans iron slipping up. Red shoes walking slow, headphones blaring 3 stacks. Sunglasses flaring out, thick watch hanging low. Studded belt pulled taut, 3 stacks on the radio. Friday night, I'm thinking that we just might run away to some place we can be who we are. We can be who we are.
Josh, thank you for joining us on this fine evening. Before we get into talking ball, let's give our listeners a little background on you. How'd you get into comedy? And then I know you were telling us when we were doing our pre-meeting here that it really took off after the Skip Bayless impression. But kind of give us your history, and then we'll get into some NBA basketball.
Yeah, for sure. I've been, even in high school, I used to do a lot of impressions, and I thought of myself as a performer. You know, I just wasn't doing stand-up yet at that point, but I was also very passionate about the weather, so it became like a routine almost. Like since I live in Florida, we deal with a lot of hurricanes. So the teachers would have me go up and I would do like the hurricane reports, but it was kind of a comedy sketch more than me actually caring about the weather. And that's kind of how it started. And then, you know, I've been a lifelong sports fan. So in terms of doing impressions, like the first impression that I ever did was Marv Albert, because I watched so much basketball growing up. So, you know, that voice to me, that was like a big thing. I either wanted to be Marv Albert and do the play-by-play, or I was going to imitate all of them. So he was like the first guy I used to imitate. And then from there, it just kind of, you know, evolved. And I went to college in Florida State, go Seminoles. You know, I did impressions when I was there. Jimbo Fisher took over as the coach at the time. So I was doing Jimbo Fisher, but like, you know, he's not really like, I mean, he's more well-known now, but, you know, it wasn't really going anywhere. But it was fun. It was fun doing it. And, you know, just stuck with it all these years, you know, doing the impressions. And now I'm here. And just in the last few months, like you said, Skip Bayless has really taken off. That impression, kind of surprisingly, you know, because like I just didn't expect that he would be that popular, but I guess he's got such a big Twitter following that like I figured out these Skip Bayless reply videos. So anytime I'm not like on stage, I just stay home and reply to people as Skip Bayless.
And for our listeners, here's a little sample of the fantastic Skip Bayless impression.
Okay, Mr. Cuban, I've said it repeatedly. The play-in tournament is, I don't know, one of the worst ideas in NBA history. Now, I know you made up with my friend, my brother, Lil Wayne, but I don't know. Luka Doncic is just not that guy. He's Luka Doncic, no D. My turn.
So when did you first? Were you just maybe watching Skip? I know I've Skip has been in my life forever.
He's been in my life for a while too. But I never thought to imitate him. He was just one of those guys that like I was like, well, if I do him, like no one will know who he is, right? And even what's funny is even when I go on, like I can't do him in front of most audiences because unless I go to a sports bar and perform there, people don't really know him. But if you follow sports, you know Skip Bayless, obviously. And a few months ago on Twitter, I right after the Super Bowl, Shannon Sharp tweeted something, and I was like, it would be funny if I did like Skip Bayless from the toilet. So I did that like video literally from like my bathroom. I was like, it's my turn now, Shannon Sharp from the toilet. You know it, and I know it. Tom Brady really won that Super Bowl, and like I just did that short little video, and it got like 50,000 views in like an hour, and I was like, whoa, I guess people like it.
Yeah, I love it just because, again, I said he's been in my life forever. I remember, so I went to University of Florida, and when the big Tebow run was happening, when he was on the Broncos, I mean, I'm sure Skip Bayless was very popular before that, but it seemed like that kind of just skyrocketed him into like superstardom. And so then when Charlie showed me your video, I was just like, this is pitch perfect, amazing.
We've been like following Skip Bayless. Like we watch Skip Bayless all the time. So Adam and I work together, and on our lunch breaks, we'll watch Skip Bayless. And I remember over, I think it was past couple weeks, I saw your tweet at the top of like a Skip Bayless response, and I was just dying looking at it. It was during the Heat Sixers series, so I was actively following it because Monty and I are Sixers fans, and I think you were either replying to him or Embiid. And
I think well, what I've been doing is I have been replying to like I've done a couple Embiid replies, Draymond, Durant, but also what I've been doing is when Skip tweets during the games now, I read his tweets out loud. I've started doing that, and like those are a big hit, because he says things during the game that like are crazy sometimes.
I'm hoping that you become his one, that he follows you, and then you're just the
that's
one
my
person.
hope too.
I liked your tweet when he said who he wanted to play as him, and first of all, there'd never be a movie about Skip Bayless. What he said.
You never know though. I've never seen anything quite like it.
I think you've earned that role.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's like when I do an impression, like it takes over my life kind of. And you know what the thing is with Skip is like, I think I do him so well because he's got a lot of things going on to imitate. And for me too, it's fun to play him because, okay, he's anxious all the time, which I can relate to. A lot of the people I imitate are anxious too. And he's like, it's the first person I imitate that's super passionate about sports. So I can, even though I don't agree with him as a lot of his takes, I can agree with like his passion because like that's how I am with my teams too.
Has Skip ever interacted with one of your tweets? Has he ever liked one?
No. But
he follows zero people on Twitter.
He follows zero people. But I have gotten my impression to the host of Undisputed, Jennifer Hale is her name. She has liked a couple of my tweets, so I know that they're seeing it. And if you go to like Durant, like I'm almost positive Kevin Durant's seen my Skip Bayless replies. I'm almost positive. I think LeBron James has too, because I think they appear at the top now.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the retweet from one of the big name players.
One of them's gonna do it.
You don't agree with all of his takes, but you both are, and he adopted your Miami Heat as his finals pick here. So
I
want to get into that. We don't have to go through the whole series. Let's just go ahead and break down the most important game, Game 7. Take us through the roller coaster of emotions. But before you do, I was kind of picturing you and Skip. Skip, as we know, is a big Cowboys fan, but because he's adopted the Miami Heat, I was picturing both you and Skip like this. Actual video that Skip tweeted out after the Cowboys lost.
I know. I did one similar with the Heat hat on from my car. I was trying to mimic that. And by the way, I hate the Cowboys. But I'm going to have to get a Cowboys hat to play him.
Oh.
And I was going to put it like in the background, like on one of the Mountain Dew bottles, just to kind of add to the character.
Yeah, but as a Heat fan, what were you going through in that game? Because it was kind of a weird game.
It was a weird game. Like I'm very intense during Heat games. Probably more like I would say of all the teams I root for, the Heat I root for the hardest. And it was really tough because like I feel like after game 6, like it was like, come on, they got to do this now, you know? And they got off to a horrible start in that game. And I knew they weren't going to quit because, like, that's been the team all year. Like, they've been doubted all year. They've got a lot of guys who are, you know, defense first, championship experience with PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry. But I feel like if they had gotten off to a better start and they were healthier, I think they would have won. Because, like, I think it's underestimated that Tyler Hero wasn't playing. He averaged 20 points a game, you know, for the season for us. Like, even if he had scored like 15 in that last game, it could have been enough. So I feel like him being hurt cost us.
And I saw on your Instagram you had a little bit of a power outage. Were you able to get to
Terrible
the local bar?
Yeah, it was just, I mean, it was like I said, it was the basketball gods that were just against me. Like, I mean, literally less than 2 hours before the game, you know, a bolt of lightning hits. My cable goes out, and it's still out, by the way. They're coming tomorrow morning to fix it. So I was able to go to Dandy's Donuts.
Nice.
Which is a donut shop. They have a couple of them down here. They're open 24/7. They did serve Mountain Dew there.
Now, does the Skip Bayless impression come out when you're getting very emotional watching the Heat at any point in time and you don't even recognize it anymore?
Yeah, this is actually what's been coming out a lot lately. Like, I mean, I'm literally like during every game now, I'm going like this. I'm doing that sigh, like even uncontrollably. So it was the good thing about watching it there was like I intentionally didn't want to go to a sports bar because like when I watch, and you guys maybe can relate to this, like when you watch your team, like you just want to be able to focus sometimes.
Right.
And like if you go to a loud sports bar, it's too many things going on. Mm-hmm. So it was basically just me. And there was the cook there was actually a Celtics fan. So like that we were the only people watching it.
Well, the worst thing is when, and we've done this a few times, we'll go to like an actual themed sports bar, right? So they're like Eagles fans, and so we'll go there. And then like randomly there'll be a person from the other team that shows up to the designated bar of the opposing team, which I've never quite understood.
Yeah, I've had that. I've seen that too.
But okay, so it all comes down, right? The Heat are down big. Then they randomly come back at halftime. And they get down again. And then down 13 with, I believe it was like 3:38 left. You know, like Skip, I would have bet my entire life that the Heat don't even sniff near that score again, right? And suddenly they're there, right? And so what I wanted to ask you about is they get the rebound. Jimmy Butler's coming down. You got Al Horford backpedaling.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the three. How do you feel about it?
Bad decision. And I hate
agree.
to say that, but Butler's one of the best in the league at driving to the basket and either scoring or drawing a foul. Like he's like, it's almost an automatic when he gets into the paint that it's either going to be 2 points or a foul. And he just, I don't know. I think he just got caught up in the moment. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we can say, oh, if he made it, you know, blah, 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 but it was the wrong decision. He drives there. I guarantee you it's either a foul or 2 points.
I agree. You got Al Horford on banged up legs, backpedaling, and your Jimmy Butler, great finisher. Charlie and Monty. I know Charlie has a different take. What do you think?
I like the shot. I mean, he'd been hitting everything all day, but you're right. He's better. He's more of a driver than he is a jump shooter. But I mean, I don't think that you can really look at it and that he necessarily made a bad decision. I mean, if it weren't for Jimmy, you're not even there in the first place.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think it's like he has the right to take that shot at the end. He can do whatever he wants with the ball. And if we want to go analytics or if we want to like look at percentages, I mean, yeah, it would have been a better call to drive the ball. But I mean, he had an open three and
he also played the entire game.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That was a great shot. I know he missed it. It was a pull-up three. He had space between him and Horford, and everyone says, oh, Horford was backpedaling, and some say, oh, I guarantee he'll get a bucket, but maybe he drives and the refs don't blow the whistle because they see there's only like 15 seconds left to keep the whistles in their pocket. But yeah, he had played 48 minutes. Maybe a quick decision was like, can I do another 5 minutes, or do I just try to end it right here and go for the dagger? And it's Jimmy Butler. I'll live and die by that shot because I know there's no guarantee. If we go to overtime, yeah, the momentum's on your side, but I'm perfectly fine with that shot. That's a good shot in my opinion.
Well, Charlie, you just mentioned Scott Foster, the extender. I think he calls that foul up for sure. He wants it to go. He's the extender, dude.
Depends on who he's putting money on before the game. Scott Foster's an infamous cheater. So
I also would have if they were going to take a three there, I would have preferred definitely Strus taking it. It's a shame too. Like PJ Tucker was hurt because he didn't play the whole second half because he was hurt, and he all year for them was hitting the corner three. Like that was underestimated, and his defense was underestimated. So, I mean, it was tough. Like I felt horrible after that loss. Like as a Heat fan, it was one of the worst losses ever for our franchises that I can remember.
That wasn't even the biggest three though. That's being disputed. What do you think about the?
Well, yeah. Before we get to Jimmy Butler's legacy, which I wanted to get to, what was the initial feeling, and then after you lose by that little amount of points, going back to that Strus third quarter three?
Well, yeah, that I was like furious about. Although the thing is, though, you can't see. The thing is, if you're going to reverse that, you have to do that right away, because it's like if we're going to start doing that too. First of all, it wasn't conclusive, I don't think, and also if you're going to start doing that, like you can do that with other things. Then, like there was a play. Where Jaylen Brown, I thought he traveled for sure, and it led to a Marcus Smart three, and that was like a possession or two after the Strus thing. So like, should that have been taken away too? You know, that's the thing that I didn't like is like, if you're gonna do that like afterwards, it just shouldn't have happened.
That's what we're saying. You should be able to challenge, or you should have to challenge it for those types of plays at a stoppage, but. That's just
10 minutes of actual time passed before they reviewed.
Crazy. I couldn't believe it, So, I mean, you can't really – I've heard people say, well, that was the difference in the game. Like, you can't really say that, though, because then, like, you don't know what would have happened. Like, the Heat may have played differently. They may not have had that comeback, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of what ifs. So, I mean, it ends the way it does. And so my next question was, Jimmy Butler – has a great game 6, great game 7, right?
Yep.
He disappeared the prior 2 games. He had a great game 1. It's kind of like a weird series overall, but also just individually for Jimmy. So I want to know your thoughts on or how you feel about Jimmy Butler after the series. And then where did the Heat go from here with Jimmy Butler? And then Jimmy Butler's just overall legacy.
Yeah, I mean, Butler is the type of guy who, and I watched them all throughout the regular season. He was out a lot of games. Like, they had a lot of injuries. But Jimmy Butler is one of those few guys in the league who there's a huge difference between regular season Jimmy and playoff Jimmy. He takes it to another level. He goes from like all-star to superstar. The thing with the Heat is like look, I can't say the season was a failure because like they got to Game 7 of the East Finals. Like that's not a failure. You know, most teams like would take that. But they were the number 1 seed. They had Game 7 at home. You know, I feel like having Hero injured really hurt them because they needed his offense. Also, I think another thing that they need going forward is Bam Adebayo has to become. He's a great defensive player. He hustles. He rebounds. Sets good screens. He has to become more of a scorer for them. So what I think will happen this offseason, just knowing Pat Riley, knowing the Heat, they're going to go for it. Like they're going to probably, if I had to guess, trade Hero.
Okay.
And a couple other pieces and draft picks and try to get another all-star.
Donovan Mitchell is who they're saying.
I think it could be Donovan Mitchell. It could be Bradley Beal. But just knowing, I've been following the Heat, and you guys probably have too. Like they always go for it when they think they've got a shot. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to go for it and get one of those guys.
I do think they're missing another. I mean, Bam. He's offensively. It seems like he's not. I mean, I feel like a couple years ago he was a much better weapon offensively. I mean, you could call that because of the bubble, but it seems like he doesn't have any faith in his jumper anymore. And I feel like they need another scoring star or someone that's a little more reliable than Hero. And I think Hero is actually a great trade piece because he's young and has been, I guess, underutilized because he's been coming off the bench. But I agree. I think they're going to make a trade. I think they're going to. I wouldn't be surprised if they got Donovan Mitchell. I think he would fit well. But yeah, I think Bam just can't be that second scorer role or that second. I mean, he's a star, but he's not obviously not like superstar Jimmy level. And I think he can facilitate the offense and play good defense, but he's not going to get a bucket when they need him to get a bucket. And that was pretty clear.
Exactly.
So
I think they're close. Like I really do. I really think they're one piece away.
Mm-hmm.
One trade away.
Monty, you had the Heat in 7. What do they need?
I mean, I had the Heat in 7, thinking they could win games 5 and 7 on their home court, but they wanted to lose both of those.
Here's the problem, home court advantage wise. Why do the Miami Heat fans show up right before halftime, leave at halftime, and then show up midway through the third quarter, and then leave early?
It's the pregame for the clubs.
First of all, and I don't go. I'm like an hour north of Miami. I don't go to a lot of games. It is I will not to make an excuse, but like first of all, there's other things to do all the time down here, like Stephen A. always talks about. But also like it's kind of like a pain in the ass to get to the arena and leave, and it's just like it's not in an easy location. And I think that makes a difference. Then again, I don't know if you've seen all South Florida sports teams, it's the same. Like our fans, we have trouble getting into games, leaving. It's just, I mean, Dolphins games are half empty.
Yeah.
You know, Marlins.
I've been to many.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
the Marlins have different. It's because you've entered an acid trip every time you walk into that stadium.
Yeah. I've literally had more people. I've performed in comedy shows with more people than at Marlins games. But the Heat fan, everyone down here is a Heat fan. We are real, we're loyal and passionate. It's just like I said, it's just being at the games is kind of a pain.
Has it died down a lot? Or you go ahead, Money.
I was gonna say they have other priorities. This is just a little side thing in their schedule.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Has it been a lot more people when LeBron was there?
Yeah, but I will say, like during the playoffs, yeah. But like, even then, like the fans were kind of the same. Like where like you turn on a game and like there was empty seats everywhere. Even during those years. And my favorite championship that the Heat won was their first one in 2006 with Wade, young Dwayne Wade and Shaq, because it was just like versus Dallas. And I went to one of those games. Like maybe it's because it's like when your team wins it for the first time, it's just like nothing tops that. And they were also like they were the underdog, especially in those finals against Dallas. It was like when LeBron was here, I loved it, but it was expected. Like people think that they won 2 championships. That was they did bad, because they only won 2.
So that's your favorite Heat team then? Is that
the
first
06? Yeah, the first one with Wade and Shaq. Obviously 2013 too was pretty amazing. Coming back final seconds against the Spurs.
Right.
That's the Ray Allen shot, right?
Ray Allen shot, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Kyle Lowry before we move on to the finals preview? It's quite the pickup, and I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, he does have that Heat culture in him.
He does everything. He does everything that you want from Heat culture. Takes charges, hits guys. Good defense. Mentally strong, he was injured too, though.
Right.
He was slow out there. Like I love Kyle Lowry. I feel like they should have played him less in that game 7, because I don't think he had the legs under him. He couldn't make shots.
Completely agree. Okay, let's move on here. Okay, let's go to real quick before we get to the finals here. Thoughts on Boston? Because, again, this series is very bizarre. There is someone winning by 20 pretty much every time outside of these couple final. But even the Game 7, the swings were crazy. Boston's a little banged up, too. Are you swayed at all by this series going into this Golden State series with Boston, or do you think they'll get enough rest going in?
I am a little bit because they got roughed up. They got roughed up against the Heat, and the Warriors are getting healthier and they're well rested. If the Celtics had not had 2 straight 7-game series, I'd say they got a shot, but I think the Warriors are going to take them. I got Warriors in 5.
That's what I got.
Before we get to the Warriors, before I school you all on the Boston Warriors series, okay, do you think the Heat, how disrespected was this Heat team historically? Because it was almost like this number 1 seed in the East was like, why is Boston not sweeping this team? I mean,
I know
they've been to the championship. They have, tested players. Why do you think it is they were just this Heat team was so disrespected?
I think that because they have a lot of guys that were playing on the team that nobody even knew about, like Gabe Vincent, like they weren't names. I think Bam Adebayo too, like people don't watch him. I think they just have a lot of guys who are like, even Butler. Now I think after this series, Butler's earned his respect. But like everyone on their roster, top to bottom, Kyle Lowry, disrespected. They have nobody. Victor Oladipo. Everyone on their roster is just underestimated. And that's just why it is. Like they don't have a Jason Tatum, who's I think been a little bit overestimated.
Right. Speaking of Jimmy, just real quick, because we didn't get to this. Where can you even relate Jimmy Butler to another player in history?
In history? I've been watching basketball since, I don't know, the 1800s.
Because I was thinking about it. I can't figure out who he's like.
Who, Jimmy?
Well,
yeah.
Actually, yeah, I mean, okay, I'm going to just – they play differently, but, like, I was just – because I was channeling Skip. I'm just going to say Manu Ginobili.
Okay. Okay.
And I only say that because, like, Ginobili, too, when it got to the playoffs, he was always a killer.
I like that one. I didn't even think about him.
You know?
Monty, Charlie? Oh, well, Charlie apparently has someone queued up.
What?
This was the dumbest question ever.
What are you talking
You're
about?
like, oh, in history? So who do you have Jimmy Butler related to?
I don't know. I don't remember even saying what you just said. I said. I don't know. He's because part of it is he's a tremendous defender, and he's not a great shooter, but he's a very intelligent. He does all the little things. Very intelligent basketball player. I don't even know who I would compare him to.
I think that's almost a compliment, though, that you can't compare him.
He's one of one.
He's one of one.
There is really no comparison for him. A man who does
he's not overly athletic, but
comes up short. But
now we're just trashing him.
I mean, he's good, but
it went from compliment to can't shoot. Comes up short.
He's an outstanding playoff performer.
Got with Rachel Nichols.
But he can only do so much. Yeah. He needs another playmaker with him, which I think that's how the whole NBA is. You need two superstars, and I think that's what the Heat are then lacking. They're lacking that second bona fide superstar.
All right, well, maybe they'll get Donovan Mitchell or Bradley Beal. Okay.
No, they need Joel Embiid.
We're Joel Embiid.
He should have never left, really.
Yeah, I can guarantee you, though, like I said, as a longtime Heat fan, they're going to go for it this offseason.
Yeah.
I promise you they're going to try to get Donovan Mitchell.
I'm excited. All right, so we're here. Thursday night, NBA Finals, Golden State versus Boston. We've already heard the preview from Josh. He's got Golden State in 5. No, what's the reasoning behind it? Just because you watch them, beat up on.
Yeah. No, honestly, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I'm pissed off at that we lost. So I kind of want to see the Warriors just hammer them. I mean, I want to see a sweep. So I am biased. I'm biased. I think I'm letting my emotions get to me a little bit. But I do believe the Warriors will win the series for sure. I'm like pretty sure.
Would it piss you off more? Well, okay, here's the thing. What if Boston wins in 7? Wouldn't you be like, oh, we really missed the opportunity there to go win a championship?
Yeah, that would be the worst case scenario if Boston won in 7. Yeah.
I agree with you, though. I don't think Boston has a chance in this series. I seriously don't think that they have a chance of winning this. I think 5. I think that they'll gentleman sweep, but if it gets to 7 in Golden State, which I don't even think it will, I just don't see them losing at home.
Is it just because of the off-ball movement or something? Like, what? I don't understand why Golden State is this heavy of a favorite. I actually love the odds.
Well, they have the experience, first of all. They have more depth, I would say, especially with Gary Payton coming back. I don't know what the status of Iguodala is, but I don't think that matters. I don't even know if he'd get play time. And I think they have the better coach. I think Steve Kerr is a very underrated coach. People always say that he's a bad coach because he had the arguably greatest team of all time, but he's a pretty good coach. And I think that they're fired up. I mean, Clay being back, I think he's fired up to be back in the finals, just be playing too. So, and I think they match up well. I think Wiggins can probably play some limit Tatum, I would say. And
yeah,
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily afraid of Jaylen Brown. But I think that I'm sure they'll have a good game plan. And I think that they're peaking. Josh made a good point. I think that they're getting healthy and peaking at the right time. Whereas it seems like Boston is kind of barely getting by. Like I thought that Boston would beat Miami in 5 as well, but it seems like that they're struggling to get by. I mean, they almost lost to Milwaukee without Middleton.
That's true, but they do. Well, Milwaukee is the best player in the league, though. It's
true, but I don't know. I just think the Warriors are locked in, and I just don't. I mean, I don't think you can give the Warriors a chance. I don't think you let them get to the finals. I think they're going to win it. I mean, there's no LeBron out there, so.
Monty, who you got?
I have Golden State in 6, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as they've been saying it. Because the biggest matchup I'm worried about that could cause a lot of problems is Marcus Smart on Steph. Marcus Smart is just super physical. Steph, he tries to just run around, tire out his defenders, but Marcus Smart, he'll be right on him. And I think Smart will limit him in around for 2 games, but over the course of a 7-game series, I think Steph will have some big games. So that's why I think it goes 6. But because if Steph's struggling, yeah, they say the Warriors have other options, but in a way, if he struggles, it's bad because he'll still shoot like 10 shots and he'll shoot a bad percentage and then quick threes, try to get himself going. So yeah. I think part of me wouldn't be surprised if Boston wins it all just because defensively they're super, super solid. But I just think over the course of 7 games, it's hard to contain the Warriors. So that's why I think 6. Yeah, Warriors in 6.
Okay, I'll be lock it in right here. Take it, clip it, like it, love it. I have Boston in 7, and I think that they match up very well with the Warriors. I'm going to take your take there, Marcus Smart. I think he'll be able to get healthy enough to cause Steph some major problems. The big key to me is Robert Williams, because if he can play, if the Time Lord can play, then I don't know what Golden State's going to do, because I think that's a huge matchup problem. And then I think this is the hump, right? We've seen this in the NBA in the past. You get over the hump, and then it's different team from what you saw in the conference finals. I think Boston has finally defeated the Dragon, and I think they're going to go into this saying, all right, we got the monkey off our back. Now we can play free and clear. And I think Jason Tatum's going to have a huge series. And I think Jaylen Brown will do enough. You know, he still has dribbling problems. He still likes to turn the ball over, but I think he'll do enough. I think every game is going to be way better than the last series that we saw in each of the conferences. And I think the NBA needs this to be a really good series as well. And I think because of all of those reasons, I think Boston wins in a close game, crushing the Warriors' spirits at home. And I already made a bet with Charlie's mom, so I'd like to take her money as well. Okay, those are our predictions for the Golden State-Boston series.
I do have one point in it.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
You have Robert Williams as your big X factor. Now, is that solely defensively and then offensively just as a lob threat? But if he's going to be on the court with Horford and the Warriors play their somewhat small ball lineup, then you have Horford.
I think he can keep
Wiggins.
Up small ball. I think Robert Williams can keep up.
With but then
his bum knee.
That was the caveat.
But then you also have Horford can guard the wing sometimes, but consistently he'd be then on Andrew Wiggins potentially. And I mean, I don't think that highly of Wiggins, but I would take him against Horford on an island by himself and try to get me a bucket.
I also see Andrew Wiggins having a bad series,
which is fair. I think he's very overrated, and he wouldn't be in this position if he wasn't on the Warriors.
Disrespecting an all-star starter.
Yeah, all-star starter.
Because he had a whole country behind him. That's he had 2 countries.
We'll see.
And he had all Canada. That's what it was.
We'll see. I just think we're gonna know. I think pretty clearly in the first 2 games, you're gonna get a sense, and I think the Golden State boys here are gonna be like, everyone has this feeling after they watch and they think something's gonna it's like watching the Patriots play the Giants, right? It's like so clear as day the Patriots should win. And then like after the first quarter, you're like, okay. I think that you're going to have that feeling and like at either the end of game 1 or midway through game 2, you're going to be like, this is going to be harder than we thought.
No, I think it's definitely going to be close. Defensively, Boston's really solid, and they line up well against the Warriors. But I just think over the course of 7 games, it's hard to contain the Warriors. Their shooting will make you just like question why you even play basketball.
We'll see. I'm excited. What does Skip think? Did Skip make his picks yet for this?
Warriors in 7. And I'd be willing to bet 1,000,000 cases of Diet Dew on that.
So great. Do you see these teams matching up again, or you think this is a one and done? You think we're on a trajectory to see them again, maybe in next year, 2 years?
Asking me?
Yeah. Unless the Heat make a huge, move, like you said.
I mean, it's weird because we had that run of Cavs Warriors for 4 years in a row. And that does happen a lot in the NBA where it's like the same teams. But I don't know with this. I think the East is really strong. Like things can happen. Like I don't trust that the Celtics will be back. The Warriors, yes, I think have still more runway to keep going for another few years. But like with the East, you got the Heat and the Sixers could be a threat. Like still, the Nets. I just think that there's more uncertain. The Bucks. I think with the Heat, there's more. With the East, there's more uncertainty.
I think it's pretty interesting how, like, within 2 years, it's totally shifted. The West used to always be the powerhouse, and the East, it was just LeBron and everybody else. And now,
exactly,
it's pretty clear that the East is the better conference. I mean,
I just want to say that I was shocked that the Suns lost to the Mavericks. I did think the Warriors were going to beat them in 7 games. Like, it was going to be a great series, but I was shocked that the Suns didn't have a shot. Yeah, at the conference finals,
We made this point on a prior podcast, but Josh, has the NBA ever been in a better place talent-wise?
It spread out. No, this is pretty good right now.
You don't really know who's going to win.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think I like this as it is because we went through those stretches where it was like, Heat every year when they had LeBron, and then it was like handed and this, and then it was handed over to the Warriors. More balanced.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good talent too coming into the league. I feel like the draft classes lately have been really loaded. Like the rookie of the year races have been. Your boy Scotty won it this year. That's right. Do you follow college basketball?
I follow the Seminoles, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I did the same thing with the Gators. So
yeah,
outside of that, it's like whatever.
And by the way, I do an impression of Dickie V. Well, I don't do him that much, but if you want to hear it.
Yeah, well, let's do it.
I don't believe it. Unbelievable. Every kiss begins with Coach K, baby. It's awesome. Diet Mountain Dew.
Is he a Dew fan as well?
I don't know. He always talks about it.
Who's not? I would say you're in danger of, Skip getting too old, and then maybe this is I think Skip's just going to keep going until he's 130 years.
I think he's one of those guys. He's 70, but he keeps himself in good shape. I think he's at least got another 5 or 6 years of on TV.
Oh yeah,
he's got Ernestine keeping him young.
I've also been working on a gym dance.
Yes.
Hello, friends. Thanks so much for joining us here today on a podcast like none other, a tradition like none other. I'm joined today by Sir Nick Faldo. You see the magnolia trees in the background. Actually, it's Mountain Dew trees, friends. Truly a tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS for the 500th straight year. That's Jim
really
at Augusta.
That's really good.
That's solid.
And I'm also working on, by the way, I said I do Marv Albert, but he's retired now. So I'm working on Kevin Harlan, the voice of TNT now.
And you're gonna be
sledgehammer, a sledgehammer, up high and down hard, right between the eyes.
And also Troy Aikman, correct? You're not ready to unveil that one yet, though.
A little bit. It's kind of like he's weird. Like he's got a weird voice. Right now he's like pitching organic. He's pitching this organic beer all the time. Joe, we've got this beer, and I'm excited to do Monday Night Football. And by the way, this beer's got no rice, no corn, so there's no syrup, and it's the type of beer that Aaron Rodgers would probably like.
Well, you mentioned the Masters, and now we're doing the whole gambit, and you had a great bit of Joe Biden and Donald Trump doing a golf tournament. If you want to break, just so we can get the whole gambit on one podcast.
Hey, Don, it's great to be broadcasting from the 28th hole, and on the tee right now is Lion Woods. Come on, man. Excuse me, Sleepy Joe. It's Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, y'all. And believe me, I'm a much better golfer than little Tiger. Okay? I actually could get a hole-in-one on every hole at the Masters. Every hole. Believe me.
Trump and Biden at the Masters.
Oh, that was great. That was fantastic. All right, just some random questions here before we leave. Skip Bayless, huge Michael Jeffrey Jordan fan. Do you consider Michael Jeffrey the greatest of all time or LeBron James?
You're asking me or Skip?
Well, I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
Yeah. You know Skip's answer. I consider MJ the greatest ever, yeah. I wish I had got, I started watching basketball during his second run with the Bulls, like those against the Jazz, they won 2 in a row. That's when I first started watching basketball. So I wish I had seen MJ earlier than that too.
Right.
But I consider MJ the GOAT, yeah. And I don't think it's close.
I think just one. Me, I am obsessed with MJ and the LeBron debate. I will give this to LeBron. I just want to real quick, longevity wise, no one beats him. Okay, so I'll give you that nod.
Udonis Haslem.
Well, Udonis Haslem, that is true. Why was Josh? Why was Udonis Haslem so upset as if he had just played like a full 48?
He's intense, man. That's him. He's that's the only reason they signed him for another year. Is the only reason he hasn't played a minute all season. And then they paid him.
You get paid more as a player than it must be. Otherwise, why not just hire him as an assistant coach?
Because he doesn't want to be a coach. He wants to be. No, he said that actually. So so he's basically just he's just an angry player. No, but he's cool. He's heat culture, man.
He is heat culture. What do you think after Game 6 when they all were thanking Draymond as if that was the motivation?
I felt the same way.
Okay.
I wasn't even playing. I felt the same way. So disrespected. You were saying there, PJ Tucker, right. Disrespected player.
That's what creates heat culture.
Is it disrespect though if Draymond ended up being correct?
That is true.
Because no lie was told.
Well, he was acting like it was going to be over in Game 6, though.
That's true.
And he was acting like the Heat had no chance. They were 1 3-point shot away from winning.
Do you believe the Draymond conspiracy theory that he said that in order to inspire the Heat, that they might actually get past the Celtics because he thought that they would be an easier matchup for him and his team?
No, I think Draymond just got pressured into saying it.
Oh, okay. You don't think he's playing like some House of Cards, like 19 steps ahead?
I did think about that, but I was like, nah, I don't think he's thinking that much about it. I think it's just in the moment. He just said it.
Yeah.
He's part of the new media. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
He's the new media now. We coming. We the new media.
Okay. And then a quick turnaround here. Miami Dolphins, Tyreek, Tua. Where you got the Miami Dolphins finishing this year?
And actually, I'm not a Dolphins fan, by the way.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah. But I hear it
mind.
all here. I hear it on the radio and everything. All the fans. I have a lot of friends that they're all fans here, but I'm not a Dolphins fan. But I think that the Dolphins will do what they do every season and finish 500. That's what's going to happen. They're going to finish like 8-9 now, 9-8, 8-9. They're going to just miss the playoffs. And every fan's going to and every show is going to be like, oh, like they're close, they're one piece away. But I think I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to get them where they want to get to, personally. Because I personally don't think Tua is the guy that's going to get them over.
Okay, my apologies on that. Who is your football team?
New York Giants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
so you're
that's
in
the
similar
one.
hell.
Yeah, it's the one New York team I root for because my dad's a big Giants fan. So I've been a Giants fan my whole life. They're gonna be bad again this year.
Quick Daniel Jones take.
Well, they were gonna say quick Daniel Jones impression. I was like, I don't even know what he sounds like, to be honest. There's no one impressionable on. So my thing with the Giants is I love the coach they hired from the Bills. I think he's really good. I love their draft.
Is that who they hired?
Yeah. And he was the Bills' offensive coordinator. I love that hire. The thing with Daniel Jones is he gets injured every season, and I don't see it in him. Like he's got the raw skills, but like he doesn't have what like Eli Manning had, which was like magic.
He doesn't have that dog in him.
He doesn't have that dog in him, yeah. So it's gonna be a bad season for the Giants.
It's gonna be a bad season. You watched the draft? How'd you like the Giants draft?
I love the Giants draft picks. They got the offensive tackle from Alabama, which is amazing, and they also got the defensive end from Michigan. So I think those are really good picks.
All right. Well, there you go. The unexpected Giants take on the Sunday Punch podcast here. Josh, thank you for joining us tonight. You can find him on Instagram at Josh Rosen Impressions. You can find him on Fanbasis. Hire this man, fanbasis.com/Josh Impressions, or just go to joshrosenimpressions.com. And if you don't follow him on Twitter at Josh Impressions, hilarious, over 10,000 followers, and he posts, like he said, to every single Skip Bayless tweet. And
every tweet, man.
Tweet.
There's people that comment and they're like, dude, you just like sit in your chair all day waiting for him to tweet.
And well, you have to be quick, right?
You have to be really quick, and I'm gonna start doing more things with Skip too. Like this is crazy, but I'm gonna start going like out like to the grocery store and going live, I think, like on Twitter and stuff and IG, and being Skip Bayless.
I think that's a great idea.
Like just take it to another level. Extreme commitment.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll post this tomorrow on Spotify. If you're listening tomorrow and you haven't watched, please tune into the video. We have a lot of good visuals as well. So would love to have you back on, Josh. I'm going to go ahead and book you, though, on the next one through the fan basis. As we start is how we end. It's Tuesday night, but as we all know on the SPP, it's always Friday night.
Friday night, I'm thinking that we just might fly away to someplace they don't know who we are. Now I'm riding shotgun in your car. We drive through the city like explorers going 65. Flowing hair flying across your face. We left on Friday, now it's Saturday. Pressed jeans buttoned up, jeans iron slipping up. Red shoes walking slow, headphones blaring 3 stacks. Sunglasses flaring out, thick watch hanging low. Studded belt pulled taut, 3 stacks on the radio. Friday night, I'm thinking that we just might run away to some place. We can be who we are. We can be who we are.